My headphones are thinking about connecting.
Okay.
So my headphones allegedly are connected to my Mac because I can see the noise control and, conversation awareness and all those things,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not showing up as a viable source for either mic or speakers in Zoom,
Mm.
which is great.
Well, I hear you
So
fine.
as long as you hear me fine, that's what counts. We'll just assume that the recording hears the same thing. Well, in that case, we should get going.
All right. Well, then I'll kick us off so that we can roll on. And ready, three, two. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast, episode number 217. This is the October edition, and I am your host, Adam Bell, and joining me as always is my co-host, Peter Nikolaidis. How you doing, Peter? Thumbs
See,
up.
of course, I give you the thumbs up, right? I'm doing that for our video podcast viewers, our YouTube. And those of you who have seen me on video calls know that I inadvertently am triggering the Mac
Mo-
OS, gestures.
uh-huh.
And of course, when I want to give you a double thumbs up and have it respond, it doesn't do anything. And
Then yeah.
when I don't want it to happen, I send balloons and fireworks and roses and all that kind of stuff in the background. So, oh man, I tell you.
I haven't been in these meetings with you. That sounds interesting.
I mean, it's colorful.
Yeah. Well,
So how
cool.
you been? We've been doing things. We've had stuff come up. We've had work stuff, personal stuff,
Mm-hmm.
family stuff, all of the above.
Yep. Vacation stuff.
Vacation stuff.
Yeah. So we've been around the world a time or two.
Yeah, and I. Ah,
So,
so what's up with you? What's the newest? Let's start off on a positive note. What's one good thing that's happened in the past week?
oh, good thing. I've always got lots of good things.
Well, okay, in that case, let's start off negative. Tell me something crappy about last week.
Oh no, I'd rather stick on the positive. Well, so for at least one of our top good thing for me is University of Tennessee beat Alabama at the football game, and I was there, and we like to enjoy that. It's kind of a shame that UT and Alabama have been playing every year for over 100 years.
Okay.
I mean, they're founding members of the SEC, and
Security and
UT,
Exchange Commission?
yeah, Southeastern Conference,
Oh, right. That SEC.
that SEC. Uh, so
Not the one
they,
that does absolutely nothing to curb the behaviors of people like Elon Musk.
right,
Not,
right, that
not those.
not
In
that
fact,
guy.
actually, I think your SEC is just as influential as the United States SEC when it comes to that.
But so they've been, like I said, they've been playing over 100 years, and UT actually leads the series. But Alabama has been the most dominant team in the SEC. Georgia likes
Mhm.
to think that they're important, but just because you've won a couple times in the past few years doesn't make you a dominant. But Alabama has beaten us more over the last 20 years. Uh, I think we're like 17 losses out of 20 over the last
Okay.
20 years,
All
but
right.
UT leads the series overall between
Got it.
the two in competition. So it felt good to beat them this year. Well, and it's critical for us to try to get to the SEC championship. We had to beat Alabama. I mean, so this is a step going forward. They tore down the goalposts, which I thought was unnecessary
Like
because
after the
after
game?
after the game, they did
like
that.
like a riot kind of situation or what?
It's not riotous, but I mean as far as like, a mob or anything, but they
Hmm.
did it 2 years ago because it'd been such a long time since we beat Alabama. They went down to the field and tore down the goalposts and threw them in the river, which makes zero sense why you'd throw the goalposts in the river. But anyway, but they wouldn't. They tore down the goalposts but they wouldn't let them leave the stadium with them this time. And
Okay.
there's a hefty fine, a $250,000 fine associated with charging the field that you pay to the opposing team, and it grows. So
Now, wait, does that apply to the teams or to the fans or both?
it applies to the teams, the college team. So the University of Tennessee will pay the University of Alabama $250,000 for that incident.
Interesting. But if like a bunch of fans stormed the field, does that same
There,
fine get levied?
Same fine, because
Oh,
it's
interesting.
the university's responsibility to control and protect the field, the players, the referees, the everybody down. Because I mean, I know I'm getting old now because I think of the dangers that are associated with a bunch of people doing, especially when you're pulling down a goalpost. That's a big piece of metal,
Yeah.
and I mean, if you were in the wrong place, you could really get hurt when that thing comes down.
Hmm.
um like I said, I'm getting old because I'm like, I don't like that. I don't want my girls were both there and went on the field, but I don't know where they were. I know they're smart enough not to be under the goalpost, but boys are ding dongs. They just if I were 20-year-old me, I cannot say that I wouldn't have been right there.
Yep. Well,
But
you get swept up in the moment, you have fun, you act like an idiot.
you act like an idiot. So that was fun and good news. Like I said, that's a positive step, but I don't know how far we'll get, but because we'll probably lose to Georgia, so that'll kind of stink. But
Well, I hope we don't lose Georgia.
we don't want to be 49 states again.
Were we ever? I don't remember how that went. Did we get 48 and 49 to 49 and 50 simultaneously? I don't remember when those happened. I'd have to look and
I
see
don't
when the union expanded.
I don't think so because
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
remember.
sure it wouldn't have been the exact same time, but
Yeah, Hawaii and Alabama, or Alabama,
yes, Hawaii and
Hawaii and
Alabama.
Alaska.
Exactly.
Hawaii and
Yeah.
Alaska were the last.
Someone's got Alabama on the brain. He's thinking football.
Yeah. So that was it. That was fun, exciting news from last weekend, and this is a bye weekend, so we can't turn around and lose this week. So that's nice.
Okay, good, good. I
Uh,
don't know what that means, but okay.
a bye weekend.
Yeah.
That means that you don't play this weekend, so
Oh,
you get 2 weeks off, a bye week
it
off.
just goes on by. We've
Hmm.
had a couple of those for our podcasts.
Yeah, we had a bye monther.
Couple of by months, by weekend, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, there you go.
Well,
Cool. All
the
right.
other the other slightly good news is I got my iPhone 16. Uh,
Oh, so you're
I
all AI enabled.
Well, not yet. So I got the phone. The problem is I misread what holster I was buying, and I bought the 16 Pro Max holster and case, and I have a Pro, not a Max. So I had to turn around and buy the Pro, the proper holster. And I was going to the farm. I'm not at the farm now. I can't be at the farm with the stupid expensive phone in my pocket without a holster on it doing some protection.
Even though it's all Gorilla Glass, super hard rated, etc., etc., etc.,
Etc. Yeah.
etc. It's
No, I just don't. I don't want that. The camera sticks out, it's not flush. I don't want to scratch my brand new lenses on that because I'm going to keep the thing for 2 years minimum.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I want good pictures out of it, and so I'll get my holster and I'll get it set. I'll get it all. I've actually already done everything except transfer the phone number over to it until I get my holster. So when I go home on Sunday, I'll just swap it over. It'll be awesome.
All right. Well, there you go. Well, I'm still sticking with my 14 Pro for now.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. I've noticed some hesitation really recently since the iOS 18, but I think those are just bugs. I don't think that's actually, um, I don't think it's a, sign that that my phone is getting slow or anything like that. But I thought it's funny because I thought that I was going to be buying like a new phone, a new watch, maybe a new MacBook, and well, I mean, and this iPad's almost a year old now too. So,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, and AirPods definitely, right?
Mm-hmm.
And turns out I haven't upgraded any of them. I did not replace anything. The only thing I was looking the other day is I've noticed that my Comply foam headphone tips are
Mm-hmm.
getting a little ratty, and I know I had a spare package around here somewhere, and I can't find it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to just plunk down and buy a new set of those, or a little 4-pack or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it turns out I didn't get anything new, Apple wise, and I was actually kind of surprised. I was expecting to, but nope, just
Was
not
it
not nothing
was it
compelling enough to do it.
I was gonna say, was it outside of your control?
No, it was inside my control. I don't know
Yeah.
what you're talking about, man. You mean my budgetary officer had something to do with it?
Yeah.
No, I don't have one of those yet. So, um, no, and the closest I have to a budgetary officer would be like, yes, get them and get me one while you're at it. So, but no, like I'm not seeing any real compelling reason to upgrade until I see the AI features, maturing and actually coming
Hmm.
through. My 14 is working fine. Frankly, I don't want a larger phone, and all of the phones are slightly larger except the
Hmm.
SE. Oh, by the way, I have an SE as a secondary phone, so I don't need a new one of those.
Hmm.
No new features in the AirPods Pro 2, second generation, other than the USB-C charger, right? So, mine does everything that does. They've got the new hearing protection rating, so they can act like it's official. Like I've been using my AirPods Pros at concerts and loud,
Hmm.
like when a fire truck goes by or whatnot to protect my hearing. But now it's official; they can act as hearing protection for you. So
I read an
I,
article that
uh,
old people were using them as actually like hearing aids too.
hearing aids. That's the thing. I don't know if that's happened yet or not, but they're going to, if they're not already, they're going to be approved as over-the-counter hearing aids.
Hmm.
So you can use them to crank up the volume for stuff too.
Now,
Yeah.
I didn't know that they made a new Pro. So I have the Pro 2. Is there a new Pro?
There's a second Pro second generation.
So it's Pro
The only
2.2?
difference, it's the charging case. You get a FireWire, the FireWire goes away and you replace it. Sorry, the lightning cable goes away and it's replaced with USB-C. But
So
functionally, I believe all the capabilities are identical still.
okay, so I don't need to upgrade that. I mean,
Yeah.
not for the
You get an
case.
upgrade for the case essentially. I don't think there's any extra features because the lightning case still, like, the case itself can make noise now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's any benefit to do that. And of course I was gonna, I was like, well, it's been a year since I got my Apple Watch Ultra 2. I'll get a new one. No, I'm not gonna go through the hassle of swapping it just to get one in black because it's the same hardware.
I like the
Um,
silver. Why would I want it black?
you mean titanium?
Well, yeah, to
Yeah.
the
I like
titanium.
black. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
like black, but not enough to get rid of this one just for the new color.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know what? My M2 MacBook Air, it's running just fine. There's still one use case I have that it drives it nuts and the performance goes down. And this thing, when I bought it was state of the art, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's, well, I guess there might have been a Mac 2 Pro or, Pro Max or M2 Pro Max or whatever.
Yeah.
But, it was M2. It was current when I bought it. What, going on is it 2 years ago now? Ugh, I
Mhm.
lost count. Um, but on my Sunday night games, when I would run Audio Hijack Pro along with a call in Discord, along with my web-based virtual tabletop game,
Mhm.
performance just goes to its knees.
Yeah.
So, and I think we've talked about this. Scott suggested, moving Discord to a web app. So I run it in Safari as an app. And also, I stopped using Audio Hijack Pro.
Mhm.
I just use a Discord plugin to record the conversations. And even though the audio quality isn't great, it's perfectly suitable for transcripts, which is all I'm doing with it.
Yeah.
And also, not running the game in Chrome, but running it in Firefox seems to be much more reliable as well. So, with those three things, my M2 MacBook Air is perfectly serviceable again. There
Well,
you go.
I've got the 2023 14-inch MacBook Pro, and
Yep.
I've yet to run into anything that it wouldn't do.
Yep.
My only it is it's not as light as a MacBook Air. And when I'm doing traveling, when I'm doing a lot of traveling, that would be nice, especially since I'm not doing anything heavy. I'm not.
Mhm.
I I might record a podcast, but that doesn't do much.
Mhm.
But do I need to spend $2,000 for a travel laptop? No,
Not really.
no. Let's tote my 14 around, and it'll be a little bit heavier and a little bit bulkier in my backpack because
Yep.
I I'm a I'm a true Boy Scout from the standpoint of uh, if you have two, you have one. If you have one, you have none. So when I travel, I have my cell phone with me and my iPad, both of which have cellular service.
Mm.
So if if something happened to my iPad or my phone, I could still make phone calls and things like that on my iPad over the
Yep.
cellular network.
Yep.
Technically, I could do it on my watch too,
I
but
was going to say that's my backup.
yeah, I mean, and I would say it's like a three-quarter reliable backup because the battery is very limited. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
you can't make a lot of communication on that,
No,
and
it's an emergency backup for sure.
more
Yeah.
emergency, short term, because it sucks the life out of the battery when I have no cell phone around.
Yep.
It kills
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
it.
Oh,
So,
man. So I have a new swiveling over to the fitness section of
mm-hmm.
our again. I have a new record.
Okay.
You know how usually it's like, how'd you hurt yourself? Oh, I was, reaching for a can of vegetables, or moving a gallon of milk from the car, the shopping cart into the back of the car or something. Well, I have a new one. Are you familiar with the with karaokas? No, not what you do in Japanese restaurants.
Then no, I don't know what a karaoke is.
It's a type of warm up. It's like a drill you do for warming up for high intensity workouts or
Oh, it's
running.
where you move your hips.
Yes, you're
Okay.
swiveling, twisting
Kara
back and forth,
and you're
right?
running, yeah. We
And you're
always
running
I
sideways.
always heard it as karaoke.
Yeah, I
Even
figured you did.
yeah, but we had to do
So,
those in football, so yeah.
yeah, so you're doing these, and so I was doing these as part of my warm up before I go for a run.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you're swiveling at the hips. So the upper body is moving in one direction and the lower body is moving the other direction while you're running sideways.
Mm-hmm.
It does a pretty darn good job getting the heart rate up.
Mm-hmm.
Those warm up things, those high knees, butt kickers, all those.
Mm-hmm.
That really makes a change. It's way less efficient than just plain old running.
Yeah, you should run a quarter of a marathon like that.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Do a 10K just hopping and skipping and stuff. Um so I was doing the karaoke's and I got like less than a quarter mile from home when I was doing it, and I overdid the twisting and managed to pull a muscle in my back. So I think that probably is the first time that I've pulled a muscle while warming up.
You got to warm up before the warm up. You can't just karaoke without warming
I
up.
know. I need a pre-warm up. So that sucked. And then
Mm-hmm.
last weekend, I was gearing up for my longest run of the year so far, 9 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Couple days before, it was Thursday. I had done no, it was the day before. I did my lower body. It was leg day essentially, and the next day before my run, my quads were a little tender, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I foam rolled them out, and I thought they felt fine. Started out on my run, and I was like, they're feeling a little weird, but I'll go easy, just take my time. And after about half a mile, they felt fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, didn't realize until later, yeah, it's because the first half mile was downhill, and that's when you really feel it in the quads. The next
Mm-hmm.
few miles were uphill, or a couple miles anyway, were uphill.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next downhill started in again, and I'm like, oh, the quads are feeling kind of funky again, but I'm so close, I may as well keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Hit an uphill, okay, fine. Hit another little downhill, got to the halfway point, and had to walk back.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I had my my running poles with me. I'm glad I had them because I was like using them like crutches. I was in so much pain that walking was hard.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of sucked. So I got back. I was able to get home, took a shower, got in the car, foam rolled to the degree I could, drove home, and then just hit it with the Theragun for a long time. And then, it felt better than the day after that. And then I went for another short run a couple days later. In the morning, everything was fine. In the afternoon, I wanted to go, or in the evening, I wanted to go for another run. I got a mile out and they started to flare up again. I was like, yep, I'm done. That's it. I'm stopped. I'm stopped. But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
My shoulder acted up. Like 2 days ago, 2 mornings ago, I was in bed and I was just like stretching overhead and I felt this large, like popping, crunching sound in the
Mm-hmm.
shoulder and it hurt. I was really unhappy,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm thinking like here I am 6 months out and now something's going wrong with my shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
It still hurt, yesterday, but I had a massage and I've been taking it easy. It's still crunching and popping,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's feeling better, no pain. So I'm doing a lot better today than I was yesterday. So but yesterday was also leg day, and my trainer told me, nothing really big until Sunday.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go for a hike today. Maybe a light jog tomorrow. But Sunday morning, I'm doing my first ever hot dog run.
You can't just quit there. You gotta
No,
you gotta explain what is the hot dog run?
oh, a hot dog is when you run and eat hot dogs as
Really?
part of, yeah, hot dog run. I don't know if I don't know the exact order, but I think you start by eating a hot dog and then you have to run like a mile and then eat another hot dog and run a mile. I'm not sure if it's a 5K, like 3 miles, or if it's a 4 mile run, but yeah, hot dog run.
Is there
So,
a chance of
run.
hurling hot dogs?
If you hurl, you are immediately disqualified.
Oh no.
Yes.
Is there a bun or just a hot dog?
I'm sure there's a bun, yes. So I have to be like a combination Kobayashi Scott Jurek here, combination runner slash professional hot dog eater. So yeah, that should be fun.
I can't imagine you eating 5 hot dogs and not Ralphing.
Well, here's the thing. I did plead the vegan card, so I will be eating tofu pups
Ugh.
and tofu. Oh, they taste fine, but they're also a lot easier to chow down than
Mm-hmm.
regular ones. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be fine.
uh, well, that's fun. Well, I had a vegan. Well, I was reading a book called Silkworm, and they were talking about it's actually a Robert Galbraith. It's his second novel. I'm rereading it. But do you know how silk is derived from the silkworm?
I don't know exactly how you get so do you milk them? Do they?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
don't.
squeeze him and milk him like a cow.
Is that,
No, so what they do is the silkworm is a moth, but the moth is a larvae, and then it spins a cocoon around itself, and then at time it will hatch out of the cocoon. Well, that silk that goes around, or the fiber that goes around it, the cocoon, is one single strand. I did not know this. So it starts at the beginning, kind of like like a loom or whatever, and it gets it all the way to the end, and it's one single strand. So then what you do is you take the cocoons and you boil them. And of course, that obviously kills the larvae and they don't turn into moth. But then you just
Boiling
kind of,
tends to have that effect on living things.
yeah. So you stir them until they kind of loosen up, because there's a mucus that's on the single strand to hold it all together. So it relieves that, and then they take those single strands and make those into the silk threads and to make the clothing out. I'm like, that's a very
Wow.
patient person.
Wow. I was not aware of that. I learned something new, man. Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So vegans, they won't wear clothes or anything that could possibly harm any of them. So they'll only use silk that's from silkworms that actually hatched.
Interesting.
But it's a lot harder to make the silk because the fibers are broken.
Well, a lot of vegans won't do anything that comes from an animal, period,
Hmm.
because, the it's taking advantage of the animal in some way. So, yeah, so,
Those poor sheep.
so
They stole my
oh,
wool.
yeah, I'm cold. All right. So what else is new? What else is new? How's work going? Done any fun? Are you enjoying the transition? You're
Yeah,
are
I
you
think.
transitioning? You're transitioning.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it has, I think I've finally gotten to a place now where, I've kind of found my place in the team and where we're working. And, it's one thing to, when they bring you on with the title, and then they're hoping that that will match your title, title will match your skill set and everything else. And so I feel like we're finally sorting out my team where everybody fits in that, and then my leadership team working within the larger organization. And so that has, been sorting itself out. I've had a lot less anxiety about the whole thing than everybody else. So some of my other team members have had just anxiety about it, and it's it's kind of irritating. They get all wrapped up tight about something. I'm like, it's not a big deal. Just yeah, just go with it.
Yeah. That's
Well. Like, you're overthinking it. You're way overthinking it.
right. Yep.
uh, but yeah, so I've, like I said, I'm settling in, trying to figure out how processes are done, and I still have they sent me like a survey kind of thing. It's not really a survey; it was from the marketing team to talk about business owners who rolled up, and you know what you know how did it feel to not be the boss anymore? What kind of changes, this, that, and the other,
Mm-hmm.
and I've gotten to a place. It's kind of a give and take. There are some things that I really do miss. Like, I miss being the final say so. I miss being able to do things quickly when it comes to final say so. But I also don't have the responsibility on me, because one of the things I was kind of tired of is that everybody looked to me for every answer. And you know if there was something that was unanswerable, it was still my problem. Yeah. Yeah. So there's some things like that. Sharing the load of responsibility is a bit is nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. It's kind of like moving into a condo, you're not responsible for everything,
hmm
so.
but I think, if everything were going my way, like, I was making money all the time, had happy employees all the time, happy clients all the time because we were providing great service all the time. Marketing was working all the time. If everything was just working all the time, I would rather be on my own. But being with others when things don't always work well has been nice because it's it the everything gets dispersed. I mean, my client base is a much smaller base in the overall big picture.
Hmm.
If I lose a big client, if I lose my biggest client, from my old group, if I lose that biggest client, don't want that to happen, but the whole organization would be like, okay, well, we're going to adjust some things around, maybe move this, that, or the other. But nobody would get laid off as a
Right.
result of that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a kind of a nice place to be. You'd have to lose a bunch of clients in order to something like that to happen. So,
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's distributed a little bit there too. But as someone who has experience in large enterprises, even they have layoffs.
yes,
So,
they do.
you
Yeah.
know,
Because, well, there is you know, there is the problem with the larger our organization gets, the more complex communication and the less effective communication is. Because you may
oh
have
yeah.
a brilliant tactician at the top, but if his or her number two doesn't explain it to the next person down the line, well, it's just going to get lost and become more and more useless.
Yep. Yeah, no, I deal with plenty of large organization communication and lack thereof, and it's true. The bigger an org gets, the harder it is to get things done, and it's mostly just because lining up resources takes so much longer. You're
Hmm.
just talking forever, and talking to the wrong people, and the wrong message gets delivered, and you end up having to repeat yourself again. So yeah.
Hmm.
Efficiency is not something you get. You might get economies of scale, but I don't think that it's efficiencies of scale.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. In my mind, the perfect company is still about a 20-person organization.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the sweet spot where you
The
can
sweet. Yeah.
make enough money that people can have their particular role without wearing maybe two hats.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 20. We'll see. I think I've talked about that theory of like I forget who it was. It was some management consultant. I was reading a book a while ago, and their theory is that every time an organization triples in size is when there tend to be, like bigger impacts.
hmm.
So it's if you're a solopreneur, it's just you. There's no communication to worry about. It's just you doing your job.
Hmm.
You get a second person, it's easy. You're just conveying. So you and I are just working together, right? But
Hmm.
when you get the third person involved, now it's like, well, let's say Peter has his way of doing things and he's explained those to Adam, but now Adam has to tell Joe how things work and something gets lost in
Hmm.
the translation.
Yeah.
And then again, when an org hits around 10 people and then around 30 people, around 100 people, etc. So that guy would probably say that, in your 20 to 30-ish, you're
Hmm.
probably okay. So maybe you could push the boundaries a little bit and go up to like
Yeah.
33 or so. Yeah.
Well, so well, cool.
So yeah. Neat. Well, that's good. Good check in, we have resumed our accountability buddy status now.
Yeah.
And so it's not push-ups right now, but it's committing to fitness on a weekly basis.
Hmm.
So that's good. In for you, you share a notes document with me where you're going to schedule these things.
Hmm.
And for you, I just shared my fitness calendar with you.
Hmm.
And my commitment is to essentially have something on every day with maybe one day off for rest.
Yeah.
And I did have to make some changes. Like today, I was planning after this to go for a run, and I'm told not to run today. So instead,
Hmm.
I'll go for a hike, right? But I'm going to do something. So
Hmm.
nutrition wise, I've made a change. It was kind of inadvertent, just happened to work out this way. But for the last week or so, I've been making my own curry for lunchtime.
Okay.
And so I'll just take like, a little bit of coconut oil, chop up half an onion, either some broccoli or spinach, and somewhere around a half a brick of tofu, and throw it all into a pan, get it all, get to the onions until they're starting to turn translucent, and then dump a ton of like turmeric and cumin and other spices into it. Top it off with a cup or so of almond milk, let it simmer for a bit. And then some days top it off with some Greek yogurt, some days not. And it's great,
Mm-hmm.
So definitely I feel the difference, like eating healthy, just a few days in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
So, and of course, then, 2 nights ago, I went out with my running buddy and we each had extra large slices of pizza, which we did not earn. But,
Yeah.
it's a bump in the road,
Mm-hmm.
so just got to hammer out some impurities. So, but,
Yeah. Because I'm on the same road. I'm trying to lose weight and I'm trying to make better choices, health or diet wise, So I'm just focusing on getting a good protein, getting more protein than I have,
mhm,
and then keeping under that calorie count, which doesn't always add up. But I got to have some metric, and
yep,
it's an easy metric for me to measure.
yep.
Uh, so I just use that metric.
Yeah, I mean, calories is one thing, and then, your macronutrients is
Hmm.
another. And that's something where I don't pay a lot as much attention to. I think I should probably pay more attention to carbs and try to tamper those down, keep those
Hmm.
within thing within within a range,
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. Like that's something where when I've been running a lot, I haven't worried about carbs because, I'm burning it all off.
Hmm.
But I'm thinking that if I was to make some changes, I saw, I've seen some guys, some videos on YouTube, and they say all you need to do is change your diet. I mean, I know they're working out also.
Hmm.
But my personal trainer, like he doesn't go like within 10 feet of carbs, it seems.
Hmm.
And you can tell he's shredded as a result.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, how long would I have to, in addition to the exercise I'm doing, how long would I have to change my diet to, really have a noticeable effect,
Hmm.
Because when I was marathon training in 2021, there was a noticeable effect, but I was just getting skinny. I
Hmm.
wasn't necessarily getting shredded. So now I'm doing strength training. And yesterday actually was the first day that we, of doing hypertrophy and really, like using heavier weights,
Hmm.
more than just muscle conditioning. And, and it feels good. Today I feel great. I'm like, yep, I had a good workout yesterday. Just a
Hmm.
little bit stiff this morning, but not achy, not sore.
Hmm.
So, like it's good to be getting into that, but I also love the feeling like, the next day after I ran 10 miles in a good way, not like the first time I do it and like, oh God, what did I do? Why did I do this? But like, yeah, I just did that and I'm going to do it again in 2 days, that kind of thing. So I'm hoping that I'm building back better.
Hmm.
But we shall see. So
Yeah. Well, and I didn't get overweight in 2 weeks, so I shouldn't expect for it to just come off in 2 weeks.
yeah, yeah, unfortunately, it generally tends to, it's easier for things to go bad than it is to get them back to good.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, I saw one time a good sign. It's like the well, a couple of ways to that. The hard choice is usually the right choice.
Hmm.
Easy now, hard later.
Yeah.
Hard now, easy later. Yeah, it was like, huh, there you go.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I know that. So. Well, there you go. Let's see. You noticed that a few weeks ago I got myself my new Kindle.
Yeah.
And did you notice that Amazon just released a whole new line of Kindles? Ah.
Well, good. Now I can get one. You didn't go to kindlerumors.com?
I didn't. What was I thinking? You know, It's just Paperwhite rumors, Oasis rumors. No, I did not do that. So, oh
Yeah.
well.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind getting another Kindle. Mine mine is fine, but they're so I mean the price on them is cheap, but
Yeah.
they're so underpowered from a
Hmm.
CPU standpoint
But they've got one job. Two, if you use them for Audible books. You
and I
know.
don't I don't use them for Audible books, but I like it to, not lock up when I press the button, or then I
Yeah.
press it, it doesn't go, I press it again, that goes flips 2 pages.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Mine's, I had the one I had was like what, 8 years old, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, it was pokey, right? But
Mm-hmm.
generally, I never found myself waiting more than like 1 second on it. So, and then
No.
I upgraded to the new version. The biggest thing is like the screen resolution is just better. The font, you can just looking at the text, it looks better.
Yeah.
But actually, I take that back. That's the biggest first thing. The other thing is that this one has a backlight, so I
Mm-hmm.
can read it at night, which
Yeah,
is
I love the
nice.
backlight. So.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference. And the thing is, like I love my iPad, but it's just too big for reading in bed,
Mm-hmm.
holding a, full size, even it's not even the biggest one, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the smallest non-mini one.
Yeah.
And I love my iPad for for comic books and stuff like that, but
Mm-hmm.
for regular books, it just seems like overkill. So I like being able to downgrade to the Kindle for that. So,
Yeah. Well, and then my last Kindle, I bought it with the cellular in it, and
uh,
there was no cost associated with it because I guess,
all they're using it to do is sell you books.
yeah, yeah. So you could get your books wherever. And but the last time I tried to use it in an airport, it really wouldn't go, and I don't know why. I didn't spend enough time figuring out. I let it go on the cellular network, and it didn't download the book I wanted, and I was like, it doesn't matter because I've got the book I'm reading. I'm not going to finish it before I get off this plane, so it's fine. But I don't think the next one I'll get the cellular. I'll just get it with Wi-Fi because I carry an iPhone and an iPad everywhere I go. I'll just hook it up on a hotspot if I need to download something.
Yep. Yeah, I've never felt the need for a Kindle cellular plan. I've because generally I'll just front load it with everything I need and and go, right? So even
Hmm.
like when I took the trip to Germany, I just loaded it up with the books, and I think I finished one book while I was out and started another one, so
Hmm.
that was fine. So yeah, I
Yeah.
got to pick my next book. I don't know what because I've been doing more Audible stuff. So you remember a few months ago I bought a book on Batman and psychology.
Yeah.
Well, to follow it up, now I have a book on the Joker.
Oh, there you go.
That one, if you think Batman's messed up, I mean, I gotta assume that the Joker one's going to be even more so. But
Hmm.
Batman's got some issues though. Let's not be not sugarcoating this. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, I'll let you know how that goes. But I've got to get through the. I'm still like 20 some odd hours left on the Endfall book, the last of the Kingfall series.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's going, but it's still, just chugging away. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. So,
So,
at least I don't think he's introduced any new characters in this book. So I was like, please don't give me any new characters I need to remember in the final book. It's like so many.
so I'm assuming it must be good for you to continue.
It's good, it's not great.
Yeah.
In hindsight, would I look back and, if I had known that it was a good series this whole long, I don't know I would have gone through the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
First book was, like it was good. Like we talked about it. It's like, it's
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of common tropes. Definitely gave me some ideas for for my D&D games and stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, this could be fun. But I think, if I had to rate it, I'd give it like, 3 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there are too many characters.
Yeah.
And although there are differences between a number of them, a couple of them are just interchangeable.
Mm-hmm.
And, you didn't really need this guy and his brother, who effectively is the same thing. They're just in love with different women and their dragons are different colors. Um, and, this guy who was a former general in the king's army. Well, this other guy who was the prince's bodyguard and mentor, they're pretty darn similar a lot of the times. And, and to the point where I was starting to forget, wait, which one was that? Oh, no, this was the other guy who did, so there's a lot of that with all this
Mm,
overlap. And then the thing is, he's introducing like 3 and 4 books in, he's introducing new main characters. And I was just like, dude, where were these guys three novels ago?
yeah.
So, yeah, overall, like I said, it's good. It's not great, but I've got another one lined up on just like role-playing game strategy, how to be a
Hmm.
great dungeon master, and a few others. But those are all Audible books. I want to, I got to figure out and buy what I want for my next Kindle book.
Yeah.
And I know there were sometimes, I don't know if you still can, there were, I think Boston Public Library would let you borrow books and then read
Hmm.
them on Kindle.
Yeah.
So I got to see about doing that. And then I don't have to pay for them so much. So that's nice too. So I mean, I'm already paying for it, right?
Hmm.
So there you go. So,
Yeah. Well, and I have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, so there's a
right.
lot of unlimited books in there. Like
Yep.
Dean Koontz is in there. I just
Yep.
finished one of his books. I can't read Dean Koontz one after another though. They're
Yeah. Pretty dense. Cool. Well, on that note, we should wrap things up.
all right.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you want to get in touch with us, dear listener, you can find us at blurringthelinespodcast.com. And that's all I'm going to say. Just find us at blurringthelinespodcast.com. Everything you need, including how to spam us if you are a Russian troll farmer or a bot, it's all there. So just find us there. You can find Adam, you can find Peter, you can send us feedback. We love feedback. Quoting a former co-host of mine, feedback is like crack for podcasters. So send us that. We love it. And on that note, Adam, I don't think there's anything left to do except push the big red button.